In this program, John Erwin will present specific strategies teachers can use to make the content they are teaching appeal to students. As we have learned in previous videos, teachers can use their knowledge of basic needs to create effective lessons. For instance, lessons that involve team or group work meet students' need for belonging. Lessons that give students choices in assignments or how to complete assignments meet their need for freedom. Giving students work they can do and succeed at meets their need for power. And presenting content in enjoyable ways meets their need for fun. Now, to present ideas on how you can make your instruction need-fulfilling is John Erwin.
Okay, another activity. This is called a line-up. Not the kind that you're used to, where they, number 4, step forward. This is going to be kind of a horseshoe up because the room is so small. So we're going to do, instead of a line-up, we're going to do a horseshoe up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some criteria, and if the criteria, I'm going to give you a situation. I'm sorry. I'm going to give you a situation. I want you to put yourself generally somewhere on the continuum from don't want to do it no matter what you tell me to inspired over by Glenna, to love doing it just for the sake of it. So kind of line up shoulder to shoulder, facing this direction, based on how motivated you would be in this situation. The first situation is, what is it? What do I always use for the first situation? The first situation is shopping. Shopping for clothes for yourself. Shopping for clothes. Can't stand it, don't do it, all the way to totally inspired over here. Okay, put yourself somewhere on the continuum. Turn to your partner, talk about why you put yourself where you did on the continuum. Turn to a person near you. Let's just hear from the extremes. Why did you put yourself down here?
It is a daily duty.
You go every day. You go
We love it.
every day. You love it, just for the sake of it. The art of shopping. Okay, good. And I noticed when people started talking to the people around them, some people moved this way, some people moved that way because they got a little bit more information. So self-evaluation is more accurate when you get information from other people. Okay, the next situation is watching sports on TV. Now you can pick the sport, but absolutely inspired to watch sports on TV. Don't do it ever. You can't make them no matter what. Watching sports. Okay. Okay, talk about the sports that you like or don't like to watch on TV and why you put yourself on this part of the continuum.
I like all football.
I like baseball. So I really like to watch baseball. I like to watch soccer.
I like soccer too. I really like to play with
Working with kids playing, I bet you into. I like the Olympics with them.
Oh,
Love the Olympics.
yeah, and I watch everything. Track and field.
All of it.
I use my brother's sling box in New Orleans, so I can watch New Orleans sports too.
Oh, wow.
So they don't show them up here. So sometimes I need to go to the computer and have that running next to me and watch TV.
Is there something all year round that you watch? Or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is.
What happens when hockey, basketball, football, and baseball are all going on at the same time? Do you have a preference?
If my team is playing, my team is on TV.
What's your team? New Orleans?
Okay. New Orleans Saints,
Yeah.
Kentucky Wildcats.
All right. Last one is an education-related one. Do you have uniforms? Okay. Okay. How motivated would you be to support school uniforms for teachers and students in Jefferson County? Inspired, totally against, somewhere in the middle. School uniforms. Okie dokie. We're going to do a variation of the lineup called a split and slide. So I'm going to split you here. Everybody on this side is going to step forward. Well, you don't have to step forward over there. Slide down until you're facing one from the other team here. So you'll stand here and just about arm's length away from them. So slide on down. Slide on down. Okay, so this is your partner. No, well, this is your, no, this is your partner. Here's your partner. Here's your partner. Here's your partner. Okay, I don't want you to get into a debate with this person. That's not the purpose. Now, you could use this as a great segue into a debate with students, but what I'd like you to do is simply listen to each other's position on uniforms in school. So just listen to each other. Just don't try to persuade the other one. Just listen to each other. So on your mark, get set, discuss.
Yeah, we have like two choices for colors that wear, white and blue. And they can use navy blue or light blue, which just makes it so much easier.
That's exactly ours.
And then if they don't have, you know, that's easy for the school to be able to give the kid a shirt to wear, you know, since it's the same thing. So I worked at a school once where that wasn't the case, and they'd have to go get a shirt from the family room or whatever, and it would be not a cool shirt, or they'd be embarrassed or whatever. So
Then it's really hard to enforce.
you still have the kids who come to school with the red shoes or sparkly belts, you know, and
It was asked of us, and we expect the same thing from them. It goes back to those expectations. It goes back to, again, modeling for them, being examples for us. That's kind of the way I feel. Not let me disagree. I just want to tack that additional piece on to show. Because we as teachers, we do have to be the examples. So I pulled you over to the side, haven't I?
Sorry.
Okay, say goodbye to your partner and return to your tables, please. I'm kind of in the middle on that one, too. Okay, so as you have just experienced, different people facing different situations are going to be in different places on that motivational continuum. Same thing in your classroom. You could bring out the math books, and some kids go, "All right, math!" while other kids are going, "I ain't doing it, you can't make me," you know. Where most kids are somewhere in the middle. But so the content itself, if the content itself isn't motivating, the way we teach the content can be. If math isn't the most exciting thing to some kids, maybe we can do math in a way that they're working with a partner or a group, or that they're manipulating things, or where they feel that maybe they're teaching something that they get to someone else. Maybe you're doing it using a game to learn the math. So while the content is kind of for them, the way you teach it, the usefulness of the activity comes out of, hey, it's fun, it's interesting, it's engaging, it's empowering. So you can't always control the what of curriculum, but you always have control over the how you deliver it. And if you think about delivering it and intentionally deliver it in a need-satisfying way, you're going to get more of what you want. After I took the basic intensive week with I didn't take it with Dr. Glasser, but I took it through the Glasser Institute. I went back to my classroom and said, okay, in this unit that I'm teaching on, The Outsiders, for example, that book by H.E. Hinton, S.E. Hinton. I would say, you know, in this unit, where are the kids going to have a chance to connect with each other? Is there going to be some pairing? Can we do some group work? Maybe literary circles or something like that. Where in this unit can I make sure how am I going to make sure that all kids are successful in this unit? So the mastery learning might come in. Where in this unit can we have some fun? Where in this unit can I give them some choices about their assessment, or choices of who they work with, but where can I get some choices in here? And the survival need is just the ongoing stuff that's always, you know, in our minds. Are they safe? Is it orderly? You know, can they get a drink of water and that kind of stuff? But that's kind of the ongoing stuff. If we do that, again, we can move kids along the continuum from one end eventually all the way to the other. Okay. All right, now I got to move. Oh, this is the next thing. The lineup is another strategy. Talk to the people in your team about how could you use this lineup strategy with your students or your faculty. And the split and slide is the thing that we did. There's also a fold, which is another way of pairing them up. So the split and slide moves this group up and over. The fold is where the ends come together. I don't ever use that, because that puts the extremes against each other and they start throttling each other and they don't discuss. So I usually use the split and slide. So how could you use the line-up activity and or the split and slide in your classroom? Talk about that for just a second with your table.
I think on that one, on the activity of motivation.
I don't know. I think he's maybe just using it in general. No, we did it with the verticals before where you couldn't speak. Is that the same kind of one?
Yeah. So he doesn't necessarily mean on the motivation,
Just a line up.
any continuum. Why would you, and then where would you, or would you fall in the middle? Or maybe there was a middle person, but
The middle person would end up talking to someone extreme because of the slide, and they would still have, maybe they could try to sway. I mean, any kind of, I think that would be good for debate, because we don't do.
What are some ideas you came up with? How could you use this with kids? Yes.
This isn't mine, but I think it's an awesome idea. After teaching a lesson, have the kids self-reflect. You know, how much do they think that they learned of the objective, how well they understand it, and have them line up according to a continuum. And then you can do the split and slide and have the kids have conversation with each other about why they feel that way, what they learned.
Did you hear that? Excellent. So line up according to how well you got it, and then split and slide and teach each other a little bit more. Good. What else? Other ways you could use it? Yes?
Maybe for fifth grade, for on-demand, maybe a persuasive letter, and then put out a topic like uniforms, and then have the kids discuss or try to persuade, you know, the other child to the other student. So
Right.
As a persuasive element.
Any persuasive writing or speaking? You can have the kids take a position and then split and slide and learn from each other. One of the things that a good persuader does is learn what the other side is going to say and, you know, rebut it. So this would be give them an opportunity to find out what the other side might be saying. So again, another way of getting the kids up out of their seats, moving around, talking, and being engaged in the learning. Okay, now, earlier we did the internal profile, where you discovered your own internal hierarchy of your needs. Me, love and belonging, huge, love, power next, freedom, fun, freedom, and survival. You all have your own hierarchy. Glasser says it's not a hierarchy, you know, it's an individual hierarchy, it's not a generalized hierarchy. However, I believe that a school and a classroom do have a hierarchy of the needs, survival being the most important one. If we don't have a sense of safety and order in a classroom, nothing else can happen. You can't even, you know, build a relationship if there's chaos. And as a student, if I'm not feeling emotionally or physically safe, I'm not going to open myself up to a relationship. I'm going to take care of myself. But once we build a safe, orderly classroom, then we can, and this kind of goes, I mean, this is a permeable line. They can kind of go back and forth a little bit. Once you've got some sense of order, you can start working on the relationship, and that's going to help the order, and the order is going to help the relationship. But if you have chaos, you've got to spend your time here. Then you can move to the belonging, building the relationship. Once you've got the relationship and that safety and order, now you can teach, which is what power is all about. That's where the learning and giving kids a say, a voice in the classroom, and increasing success and recognition can come in. And once you've got that, freedom and fun are just the icing on the cake. Now, you can't just spend all of your energy in one place at a time, because if you spend all your time on survival, the kids with a high love and belonging need, freedom need, and so forth are going to go nuts. So you put your emphasis there until that's in place. Then you put your emphasis in another place until that's in place. So I think that's absolutely what needs to happen in a classroom. Some of the things, we're running out of time, but I just want to briefly go over, and you've done this with the posters on the wall, but survival in the classroom, give kids opportunities for food, water, and oxygen. Crack a window, put some plants in your room. Get kids to up and breathe, taking some deep breaths like we did in here, doing the brain gym stuff. Having a structured environment, having procedures and agendas and routines that we use. Having the daily written agenda is an important thing. Using consistent and effective classroom procedures. Harry Wong is the guy. The First Days of School is the book. That's the procedure stuff. Teaching kids to manage their stress. That's what my second book is all about. It's giving kids emotional and social skills that they need to be academically successful. But teaching them how to take a deep breath, attach a positive thought to it, and to physically relax. Learning to do that so they don't act out on their stress all the time. Teaching and modeling good manners, that's a good thing. The class constitution is something I hope that we might get to today, but this is a 3-day training, so we've got 1 day in. The class constitution is a way of engaging kids in developing the classroom behavioral norms. Not the rules, because you have rules. I like three simple rules. Be safe, be respectful, be productive. Those are my rules. But within that, I want to know, how do you want to treat each other? How do you want to be treated while you're in this classroom? We're together and I used to multiply 42 minutes by 180 days, and it came out to be some ridiculously large number of minutes. I'd say, we're going to be together for this number of minutes this year. And the kids would go, oh my, So I'd say, how would you like those minutes to be? Would you like them to be pleasant minutes or unpleasant minutes? And so we're going to get into this, and what are your needs? What do you need from the people around you so that you feel like your needs are being respected? And what do you not need from the people around you so you'll feel respected? And the class constitution is explained in the power chapter, I think, in my book, how to do it. And it's a fun, engaging way. And it gives kids an opportunity to be creative, have some fun, and at the same time have a voice in how the classroom behaviors are developed. My job, your job is a simple way of clarifying the roles. My job as a teacher, your job as a student. My job as a teacher is not, your job as a student is not. So you can clarify those roles, which is about, again, it's survival because it's getting rid of the fear of the unknown. In the classroom, the love and belonging in the classroom, developing trust, it takes time. Personally connect with students. I used to stand at the door and greet every student as they came into class. Using class building strategies, playing some games with them, cooperative learning structures, and then class meetings. I understand in the Care for Kids program, almost everybody does a morning meeting. Is it the responsive classroom morning meeting? Okay, that's great stuff. I like this process for developing class meeting questions. Define the topic, personalize it, have them talk about how it relates to their lives, and then the challenge. So that's a good way of developing questions for a class meeting. A great way to start is the whip. Okay, power in the classroom, having a class constitution, giving the kids a voice in how they are going to be interacting with each other. Giving students recognition by publishing their work, holding celebrations, sending parent positive postcards, giving kids timely feedback. I had a co-teacher who, he was my next door neighbor when I taught, and the kids would hand in a paper, seniors would hand in a paper, they wouldn't get it back for a month. What do you learn? By then they've already written 2 more papers, and you can't learn that way. Having class meetings, kid of the week. You don't have to do anything to be kid of the week. Everybody's kid of the week at some point, and they share some things about themselves. Having class jobs, peer tutors, peer mediators, that's all power. And then power as strategies for developing student achievement, teach useful information. Use the competency-based approach. You got to get a B or better to get credit. Instead of teaching a 70 is okay. Using savvy learning or somatic, auditory, visual, and intellectual learning. Somatic is the same as kinesthetic and tactile. Using the body. Freedom, using some novelty, bring some novelty into the classroom. A guest speaker going on field trips, videos every once in a while. The chill-out chair, I talked about that, having it in the room to give kids freedom from having to always sit in class, even when they've got a bunch of stuff in their junk in their trunk, so to speak, or they brought in a bunch of baggage from home or emotional baggage from the hallway. Mastery learning is freedom from failing, giving some kids choices of freedom, partners, team members, student-generated curriculums to use some of the questions that kids develop to generate. One of the best units I ever saw was this kid comes in, and it was a 4th grade student. He walks into the classroom on a rainy, cold day in Watkins Glen, New York, sits in the classroom and goes, "How come there's worms all over the sidewalk on days that it rains?" Instead of just ignoring the question or just poo-pooing the question, the teacher said, "That's a very good question." And that started a unit on the life cycle and where worms are in the life cycle. And she brought in Gary Larson's, there's dirt in my, no, Dad, there's a hair in my dirt. Have you ever seen that book? It's a really sick book, but it's perfect for 4th grade and 5th grade boys. The reason that there's a hair in the dirt is because this woman went out for a walk and she died and decomposed and the worms found her. And they're sitting around the dinner table and eating, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, there's a hair in my dirt," and he tells her the story. Anyway, but it got into this whole cool unit on the life cycle. And you know, it would have been so boring if the teacher said, "Okay, kids, we're going to learn about worms." But because it was a student-generated curriculum, the kids were engaged. Portfolio input and assessment choices. The reason 132 is there is that on page 159 in my book, there are 132 assessment strategies you can choose from. And fun in the classroom, there's lots of different ways of having fun. Intellectual games, mental math. Oh, you know how we counted off by ones today? There was a teacher I knew, math teacher, who did mental math with his kids every day. They started off every day counting off by a certain number. So one day they'd come in and say, "Okay, we're going to count off by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, through 25. The next day, "Okay, we're going to count off by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8. Then they started doing it by 3s, 5s, 7s. By the end of the year, the kids were able to count off in the room by 7/8 using fractions and whole numbers. It was just amazing. 7, 8, 1 and 4/8, you know, whatever. I don't even know. I can't even do it. Physical games, energizers, brain gym activities, drama games. Kids love drama. Get them doing skits. Act out the life cycle. Act out how a neuron is passed from one brain cell, or how energy is passed from one neuron to another. Act it out. Kids love it, and they're learning the whole time. And just sometimes it's okay to just play some fun and games. You know, just have fun in the classroom. It's okay. We're done. Exactly 2:30. I just want to thank you. It's been a joy preaching to the choir. Your students and your teachers, if you're a principal, are very lucky to have you. One of the best compliments I can give a school is I wish my kid could go to your school, and from the conversations I've had today, I'm thinking of moving to Louisville. But I just want to end with this little Zen invocation. The way is long, let us work, let's go together, let's work together. The way is difficult, let's help each other. You don't have to be just a contractor, subcontractor alone in your room. You can work with others. The way is joyful. Enjoy the kids. They're acting their age, and that's bad, but enjoy them. They are acting their age, and they're just kids. The way is ours alone. Let us go in love. And finally, the way grows before us. Let us begin. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I hope you got something useful out of today. Thank you. Thank you.